get that book. I got a book on how to do this. And so we're
Okay, throw it on there.
And try to get it near the center.
You throw it on so that it'll stick, but it's not going to be so stuck that you can't move it a little bit, because you'll see the next step.
And when you throw it, you probably won't get it exactly center, so you have to try to... Let me get the lines so that you'll be able to see the lines.
Cool. Now start spinning slowly.
Let me stand up and see where it...
Yeah, you could try eyeballing it first. Okay, let it spin slowly and get your hands wet. Get your hands wet in that clay there. And you could even use the sponge to wet it more. But you lay whichever is your dominant hand against the side of it with your palm flat against, like cupping it.
This is, I think, my dominant hand for this sort of thing.
Okay. Then, with the other hand, you lay it on top of it and kind of mash down a little bit. This is the centering. See, you try the best you can when you throw it on and center it, but then you mash with the top of your hand on the top of it, and your other hand on the side of it, and you center it more until you got it. One side cupping it, then you take your thumb, like Dad. That's where Dad started in. And you form the base of your project.
Push it down in the middle.
Yeah, you got to put.
About the base.
But well, I mean, that's what you're shooting for, is to not make it too deep where you get to the bottom, and that's the biggest mistake you can make, because you can cut off when it's leather hard. Thumb down into it, right? Mash your thumb down in the very middle first.
I think I should get it rounder first.
Well, as round as you can get, it's gonna help. But
you're not gonna get it perfect.
Yeah, and in fact, you're gonna be dealing with the lumps, a little lump in it, the whole time. But you just, that's part of dealing with clay, and you'll get better at not having lumps. But okay, but then, how deep and how wide is the base going to be? You're forming the base after you get down there. But see, even now, you've got that pressure pushing down with your thumb, and that is half of the story. The other half is the hand cupped on the side.
Now, you want to try to have the thumb pushing against your hand.
Yeah, that's where it comes after. When you get down to the bottom. Yeah, or you use your 2 fingers or something once you get it wide enough. But yeah, you're mashing your thumb, sort of.
You're kind of squeezing the clay between your thumb and your hand.
Yeah.
Well, I hadn't gone to the bottom.
Right.
After you get down there. And ideally, you'd be about a ½ inch from the bottom of the. But don't get too close to the bottom. That's what Joe was saying is the cardinal sin. Because then
you can never put it back, but you can always cut off more when it's even the whole thing's finished. You can cut it when it's leather hard even. Now you press fingers or thumb, whatever works for you, against your hand, and pulling up with your hand really nestled up against the bottom.
Slowly.
And you pull up one little bulge at a time from the bottom up to the top. Bottom up to the top. But you're always holding that cup hand against the base and then pulling it up.
And you're not, it's gentle. Slow is the name of the game, Mark. Because you can imagine how fast that thing wraps around your finger when you push it a little too hard.
And then it's over. I would lose it every time and feel like there was absolutely no control possible because I was grabbing it with the tips of my fingers and pulling it up.
You know, dreams, Joe. Usually I can't remember my dreams at all. But
I know, and 3 of them. I told Natalie one of them, the car dream.
that was so weird. Mark, I dreamed that I was going outside of town to a little restaurant a few miles outside of town. And I drove, instead of a driveway, they had a road beside the restaurant with a little pond between the restaurant and the road. And so I drove too far, so I started backing up, and the car went off the cliff, went off the edge of the road, and it was a cliff. And the car started moving in slow motion, turning upside down, into the pond. And I thought, uh-oh, this is where Joe Broom dies. But it was slow motion. I said, I guess that this is what people talk about, that when you die, everything goes real slow. But then the car stopped in midair. I climbed out and went around the pond and into the restaurant. Told the lady, I said something to the lady, to the maitre d'. I said there were 2 people there. I said, oh, sis, I guess you're having, I said something, kind of personal, like I do sometimes. Oh, how you doing, Elisa? Had her name tag. And she said, I don't like personal remarks or something like that. And the other lady said, I don't either. So I said, well, sorry. And I turned around and very slowly walked away. And when I walked outside the restaurant, I looked over there and the car was still upside down in the air over the pond. And so I walked, and that's all I remember. Okay, Dr.
Are
Freud.
you trying to mess me up?
Well, we didn't.
You're doing it.
You'll have sort of.
But don't get in a hurry because you've done an unbelievable job so far.
It looks going.
But yeah, it's close. That was close.
Don't rush
I
it.
think you can still save it.
I don't want any designs. I just
Okay.
want.
See those fingers up there like that? That's what you can't control. If you're going to touch it up at the top, hold your hand on the side and then let your other finger touch that hand and then touch it.
We're getting ready to eat, Mark.
How many of y'all just don't want to pot as good as yours?